Aloha guys, this is your girl Faye with the Fancy to Show. I just wanted to do this video about friendship because it's kind of been about mine for the last 48 hours, which is weird because some of the stuff that I was thinking about happened months ago in 2017. So I want to talk about this because I'm no longer friends with somebody I was friends with for like over 15 years. And over the last specifically the last decade, probably post-college is when we had our friendship was doing this. It was up and down, up and down. And, you know, if you're going back and forth, going in and out, back and forth, on and off for a decade, they probably should tell you where it's going to lead to in the first place. You know, we all have that girlfriend that's been with that guy for about 10 years and it's on and off the whole time, and it always ends up, you know, not even, you know, it doesn't end up good. It's not a good thing. So, and I should have known it wasn't going to be a good thing, but that's neither here or there. So with that happening in 2017, and then another situation where I had two friends that were friends and they no longer speak to each other. Like, they're just not friends. They're not just not going through a bad patch. You know a bad patch when you see it. Well, at least most of us do. No, they're just not longer friends. And I want to talk about this because it made me, after that, and then not, you know, completely like finishing my friendship with somebody, like completely done, you know, I had to reevaluate, you know, because that old saying, you know, to have a friend is to be a friend. And I had to reevaluate, well, have I been a good friend? I even asked my sister, I've asked some of my other friends, you know, because, you know, we're human. We're human. We make mistakes as we get older, and we have our own lives, whether, you know, our husbands, our jobs, and our careers, and, you know, that stuff takes precedent. Not to mention, we might be going through some stuff that maybe we'll react towards our friend in a different way. Like, we just have all these variables, and that's why I said, you know, friendships definitely change, you know, as you get older. At least for me, because friendships, they say friendships changes when you become a mother and as you get older. For me, it didn't change as a mother. Pretty much stayed the same. It's been different for me. I think also moving a lot. I moved 3 times, whereas a lot of my other friends pretty much have stayed in the same place, and that gives me a different perspective about things and life and stuff, and also just things that have happened with my mom passing unexpectedly and all this other jazz, things like that. My husband being deployed, that whole variable too. So, you know, I had to reevaluate myself, because again, I'm not perfect, and we all make mistakes, and we're human. And so that just is, I don't know, for some reason that's been on my mind for the last 48 hours. And, you know, and talking to one of my friends who retwists my locks, we were just talking about that, because she was talking about one of her friends and how she's been, you know, friends with this person for so long, but, you know, I don't know, it may be time to cut the cord. And, you know, one of the things I realized is women, we really hold on to things that we just need to let it go. Some friendships are not meant to last. Some people really are in our lives for a season, and sometimes they come back for a reason, sometimes not. I think with my case that, you know, that person probably shouldn't have came back, but being the Pisces that I am, you know, I'm just this forgiving person. Around the time too, I was such in a delicate situation, because that's when I found out my mom had stage 4 and stuff. And so, like, you know, it's one of those, well, let's rehash and let's, you know, all this stuff. And it's just sometimes it wasn't meant to be. And as women, we really be holding on to these things. And also too, I feel like when we're no longer, we're coming to, whether it be a verbal agreement or just agreement, we just clearly not gonna mess with each other anymore. It's like one or both parties get offended. And sometimes everything is not meant to last. And we have to learn how to deal with that and learn not to be offended by a person saying, listen, you know, you go your way and I'll go mine, or vice versa, or we both, like I said, or both parties agree. And I feel like we get offended by that, and we have to let that go. And sometimes it's just, you know, it is what it is. And and just talking to her and thinking about it, we do that. And sometimes it really is best to cut the cord. And then there are certain aspects where it's best to pause. I feel like pausing is very delicate, and you got to be real careful with pausing, because if you're already going through, if you guys left a disagreement or something happened and you're putting on pause for too long, one party or the other or both starts to make up these random things in their head. Because there's women, we do that regardless of your birth sign. Let's stop blaming our birth sign for what we do. Okay, some of us are just not very nice human beings, and we really need to work on that. But again, I lost my train of thought. But sometimes, yeah, so sometimes putting on pause for too long, it becomes an issue. And it's like, okay, do I pause for a couple of days and reevaluate what I'm going to say or how I feel? Because sometimes it's best to be like, don't talk to me right now, because I got some stuff going on over here personally, and I have some stuff over here. I have some issues with you. I will get back to you in a couple of days. So sometimes even on pause, it's best to just check in and be like, listen, this is what's going on with me, and I will get to you. Because sometimes I feel like, in a way, pausing can be a game, and that's not fair to you or the other party, because if y'all are friends, y'all need to, establish that. So, we all need pauses, and, and it, depends on the, not the contract. Oh, I'm going to use that word. The agreement with your relationship is, okay, we're both going to be on pause. So, and that's fine too. But again, I feel like that pausing really is just prolonging the whole, it's just, our relationship has ended. And I think, it's just, we do that a lot as women. And that was just on my mind. And too, we grow apart, and that's no one's fault. We grow apart, and that happens, especially, there's very few people I know who are still really good. Now, don't get me wrong, because of social media, people are keeping in contact with people from high school, like, hey, how you doing? But as far as you really don't see people that were best friends in high school still are best friends in their 30s. Not today. And that's only because, not only because we're a global economy, we're moving. We're constantly relocating because the world is changing, whether we're relocating for jobs, ourselves, our husbands, or whatever the case may be. Most of us we're mobile now. And so a lot of those people, our parents grew up, our grandparents grew up, the same people, they were best friends for life with somebody from high school, as most of the time because they were born and raised in the same community, and they all just not only grew up together, but they got married together, had their kids together, and you know what I mean? And maybe expanded a little bit, but for the most part, that's why I think the older generation, they stayed, friends for that long. And not saying because we move, we forget about our friends, but when you move, people don't realize there is a really different dynamic when you move. I live all the way out in Hawaii, so we're talking about time zones here. What, 5, 6 different? No, not. I'm talking about hours. So what? 3 time zones, and I'm 6 several hours away from a lot of my East Coast friends. So, we're not talking like that. I'm not going to talk as much with them as I do one of my friends that may be in California, which is 3 hours. So, that it is what it is that happens. And I think that's one of the reasons why maintaining friendships is so different now. I really do feel like it takes way more effort than it did. And again, because our parents and our grandparents were in the same communities where they'll probably just walk down the street and have coffee with their friend or something, you know what I mean? And, now, because even if I'm on this little tiny island, and sometimes, we all got to work and stuff like that, it's like we'll text and be like, let's meet up on Thursday. And that may be once a month. And I haven't done that in a while because, people have lives and stuff. And so, so I really feel like it's harder to maintain friendships as well. But when it's important to you, you will make it happen. I'm waiting on people to come here. Yeah, that was a little bit of shade. I have been to the East Coast several times visiting some of my friends, and a lot of y'all ain't came out here yet. So, again, just saying, So anyway, sorry, I'm kind of looking at my notes because it was so, also too, one more last thing. And this is something I'm dealing with, and I need to just work through, because again, I am not above criticism and reproach. I know who I am and what kind of person I want to be. I'm not necessarily there yet. Again, I'm a human being, but for me and a lot of us, we always looking for some closure. Okay, closure is probably not going to happen. That's not a thing. Those are in books and those are in TV shows. And even if you look at some of the 80s TV shows and some of the movies, they didn't actually have proper closures. I noticed that started to change in 90s movies, but it's more than likely it's not going to happen. And I feel like sometimes when we're looking for closure, like, okay, we're going to, let's make an agreement type of thing, like we're done or something like that. I feel like we want to do that to hold on just to a little piece of them. We're it's just, the mind it's crazy, and it's how we work in how we deal with the relationships with people. Closure is probably not going to happen. I feel like closure sometimes mean you just want to hold a little piece of it to feel better about it. The thing is, regardless if you try to get that closure that you want or not, things just get better with time. That instant gratification, if I'm going, it's cool, everything's good, where we need to be. It's with time. And of course, you're going to feel some type of way. You're in a relationship or friendship with somebody for so long, and if it ends ugly, or most of the time, I'm not going to say if it ends nicely, because it does, and I've seen it before, where it's like, okay, but for the most part, feeling hurt or going back and feel like you should have done something different, when it is what it is, and it was what happened was going to happen regardless. You can deal with it in time, and cliche as it is, time really does heal everything. And with everything going on right now, you don't even realize that's not even irrelevant, especially in the past year of things that's happened politically, and probably locally, depending on where you're at. You don't even have time to be thinking about it. It's not even on your radar. And like I said, it wasn't until I was just getting my hair retwisted, and she started talking about her friend, and now she's like, I don't know where we're gonna go from here. And it started me thinking about things I saw in 2017 with women and their different friendships, and me included. And I was like, I gotta talk about friendship and just this aspect of it, and how we have to work on ourselves and just deal with things that we don't want to deal with, or we don't think it's fair. Okay, and let go. Because you're just driving yourself crazy. So anyway, this is your girl Faye, the Faye and Cedar Show, about friendship today. All right. Think about what I said. Aloha.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.